Hey guys, Elliot here. This is the new JobTread dashboard feature was just released. I'm going to do an in-depth video. We're going to cover as many features as possible. We're going to try to go deep in the nitty-gritty. So grab your notebook or get ready to click the pause button so you can pause and go implement and then come back. But we're going to try to go through everything as much as possible. So like I said, super in-depth. Get ready. New feature just came out, super cool. And so just to start off, let's just say it looks beautiful. They did a really good job of making it super customizable, really pretty, and really easy to use. Now there's a lot, so it gets advanced if you want to try to do really advanced calculations and try to see specific KPIs, but they also made it really easy to see. I've got and set up a few different dashboards here. So you'll see this is my main dashboard, and they do it just like custom views. You can create your dashboards and you can see it. You can start as default, so this one always shows up first. We got some more settings here. We got a full screen view. It puts it in full screen, which is really cool. Shouldn't have done that. I've got some client data there. And I'm still in full screen on JobTread. So that's one thing you'll notice. When you go full screen, it's going to put you full screen in JobTread and full screen in the browser. So to get out of it, you hit escape to get full screen out of your browser. And then you're still full screen in JobTread, so exit full screen there and it comes back to normal JobTread. We've got this start auto reload, which is really cool. Back to the full screen. You go full screen, well, you hit the start auto reload first, then go full screen. And so every time your data updates, you're not going to have to refresh the screen. It's auto refreshing, auto reloading in the background. So think TV dashboard. Set up a custom view to show KPIs that you want the public to see. Let's say you have clients walking in and you have data that you want your clients to see when they walk in. Get a big TV, put it up in the office, invite clients over, big TV dashboard. That's what the auto reload is for. Here's your new dashboard and here are your edit dashboard settings. Let's go through the summary dashboard real quick. I've got this set up, just kind of some stuff that I would like to see. I got my leads this month too, payments this month. You think about revenue this month. We're looking at invoices there, so we got that. Projected active job margin, but I was able to find an easy way to see projected job margin. So that just means if you're job costing in JobTread and you're keeping up with marking items as final or not, then this projected jobs margin is going to be pretty close. So we can see that right on the front and center. I got my pipeline value. These are all my jobs that are being estimated right now. They're in pending mode. They're not yet approved, but they're not in draft anymore. So they're out sent and we're trying to sell them and close them. I've got a bar graph here. You can see different things for approved, denied, pending, and draft customer invoices. You can change this to any document type. And you see some colors here. So green means good. So if we got approved in the green, that's good. So 3 months, we're good. If it's in the orange, we're not doing so good, and if it's in the red, that means we need to do a little better. So you can see January, we hit right at the orange, so we're okay, and then over here, not so much. So you can see a visual, like all your KPIs, all your metrics you could ever want. You can see it like that. Pretty cool. And we've got a line graph looking at monthly revenue. Boom, 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 boom. And we've got a lead source this month. So this is set to this month. So every time the month changes, this is going to reset. I've got this set for all time. It's going to show you just all the months. I got this set for all time. So this one is set up for this month. So every month is going to update. We can see friends gave us 2, referrals, website, internet, Facebook, and then other stuff down here with client data. We'll skip over that. I'll show you something there later. So this is my summary dashboard. Let's look at my leads dashboard. New leads this week. So I'm tracking how many leads did we get this week? How many leads did we get this week? You could spread this out to month, quarter, year. I've got my conversion rate on top of customer orders. So that's going to include estimates that we send, and it's going to include change orders that we send. Sometimes we're doing value add change orders, and those don't always get approved. So we're at a 2/3, 66% close rate there, conversion rate. Warm lead spend per lead. So here I'm tracking my month. I'm inputting what I spend monthly on marketing, and it's tracking how many warm leads are we getting and what's the cost for a warm lead to come all the way through. I couldn't figure out how to do cold leads, but we'll look at that. Conversion rate for the job. So this is different than over here. This is all customer orders. This is just per job. So if I'm selling a kitchen and there's 3 different customer orders, it's not tracking all 3 of those customer orders like it is over here. I'm looking at just the jobs. Did I sell Mrs. Smith a job? And so we're looking at 24.5 close rate there. And I've got revenue per lead. I'm taking all my revenue, dividing it by how many leads we get. So I know that each lead brings me in $23,000. So that's a marketing thing, and you can look. It only cost me $491 to get a warm lead, and it's bringing in 23. So you can do all your marketing and lead stuff here, lead data. I've got another line chart here. I can see my leads per week. So I'm tracking new leads this week here. I can see leads per week. Again, you could back this out to month or quarter and year view. But those are my new leads, again, with the red, orange, and green, letting me know quickly, visually, like, am I hitting my targets? And I've got my job types here. This is it's a stacked bar graph versus the bar graph that we saw earlier. We're stacking all the different types on top of each other. And we can see these are the different types of jobs that were in there. So if we wanted to back some out, we can click on this, and we can see just my full remodels, deck, and bathrooms. How are we doing? You can quickly see that. Then I got another pie chart here, job lost reasons. So I've got 21 lost jobs, and on my leads page, I think this is important. You could put this on the sales page, but on my leads page, I'm looking at why am I losing jobs, or why are we not getting jobs approved? And this is a custom field that I have where I have different things. So price too high, no response, other, chose competitor, change of plan. So I'm tracking that, and I can see that visually here. Let's go to the sales dashboard. Again, this is a quick overview. We're going to jump in nitty gritty in a second. I've got my sales for the year. Boom. I've got my deals won for the year. I've got my average deal value, 23,025. I've got my sales target. So this is interesting. We can put in what our sales target, our revenue sales target, whatever, any type of target into the formula, and it can calculate a percentage of how close we are. So I'm right over a third of the way hitting my sales target for the year, and we just finished, we're just in the beginning of Q2, so that's pretty good. And here again, I've got my pipeline value that we saw earlier. We've got revenue by month, and we've seen this chart before. I'm just putting it on the sales page because when I'm looking at sales data, I want to see that again. Whereas on the summary dashboard, I still want to see that data, and I pick and choose what I want to see, right? And all this is super customizable. We'll build from scratch. We get my revenue by job type, so I can look at this and quickly see, dang, 48% of my jobs this year are home exteriors, and then I've got 31% on bathrooms. And I can see this is a custom field where I'm tracking my job type, and I'm able to visually see that. Super cool. I got my conversion rate over here. Another conversion rate. Again, we can track so much stuff. I've got a customer order summary. I can see where all of my customer orders are, how many approved, denied, pending. And then this is what everybody wants. Hopefully you're still with me. Sales rep data. So we're tracking our sales rep as custom fields on the job. You can do however you want, but I'm doing a custom field on the job. And so I can see here, I assigned 49 to Elliot, and there's 4 without a value. And I can see how much was approved, Elliot's conversion rate, and the commission. Like, I can see all of my sales rep data right here in JobTread and not have to do a separate spreadsheet anymore. And we can go in and we can see for January 11 we're assigned with a 45% close rate, February 18 with a 22% close rate. I can see my commissions there. How cool. Okay, that's a quick overview of everything. Now let's jump into some nitty gritty, and let's go. We're going to click new dashboard. Let's name it video dashboard. Okay, you can't save it until you have at least one tile. And so before we add a tile, let's talk about some stuff. Here's where you add your tile. Here's where you edit your access. So this dashboard, you can choose your role. You go to settings, and member roles, and you can add more. And so you can make this very customizable. You can say admin and field can see this, or admin and office can only see this one, field can't see this one. And so you can go in and set your roles. Very cool. We got columns. So here is your columns. So columns are vertical. We have 12 columns going this way, and horizontal we have our rows. Those will add automatic, kind of like dynamically add themselves as they go in. But you can choose how you want your columns and rows here. Some people might want only 3, and some people might want more, and we'll go through that. I'll show you some examples. You can go higher. Look, you can go up to 17. That's cool. Your discard changes, undo, redo, save as, save. Okay, so this is all that. So now let's add a tile. There's a few options here. Action items. This is your to-do list. These are to-dos that need to get done. You can see all these are here, and you just saw how I drug it around, and it made it bigger or smaller. So those are action items. Not much editing to that. It's kind of one of those JobTread, we're gonna tell you how we want it type thing. Then we have activity feed. We can drag this bigger and smaller as well. We can stack things if we want to. And the activity feed is the same as what you're used to on your normal dashboard. And we can drag this bigger. Yeah. I'm going to take that one off there, just because there's some client data. And okay, so we did activity feed. I'm going to skip chart for now. That's what everyone's super excited about, so we'll come to that and put more time into it. But let's jump to reports here. And reports are just how you remember custom views. So when we went and did a job custom view, this is essentially the same thing. And you can even come in here and pick your custom views. You can change what we're looking at and go to the custom view if you already have something picked out. Now I will say, when I was going through this and picking through some custom views, the custom views weren't populating how I wanted them to here, so I just started from scratch and built my own. So let's say we wanted to, let's just go deep right now. Let's say we're looking at jobs and we want a custom view for a type of job. So this title is going to change there. So we're going to say jobs. Let's just do a nice active jobs view. That's maybe a little different than what we've seen before. We can choose how we group it. I'm not going to group it on anything there. We can go see our fields. So right now we're only looking at name. Let's do name, approved orders, and let's just filter. Let's go filter first. Let's filter by approved orders. It's greater than 0, and that's going to give us jobs that have approved orders. And we're also going to say where closed on does not exist. So these are jobs that have approved orders greater than $0 and or they're not closed. So this should be our active job. So we're gonna, you notice it didn't update. So let's just hit done. So it didn't update here. So maybe let's hit save. There we go. We're getting somewhere. Let's go back and edit. So now we can see we've got our name, we got our approved orders. Let's add some more fields. Maybe we add a budgeted profit. Boom. And then let's add percentage invoice. That looks great. And so that's an active jobs tile that we don't necessarily have. We didn't get on the old dashboard. Maybe that's just some data that we wanted to see pretty quickly. And so we can do it here. And one more thing, I actually noticed this is sorted backwards. So let's actually sort it. So one thing that's weird still is that you notice how this is a drop down and we can't type in, and the filters we can type in and get, those are the same fields. Like why can't we be consistent? So it takes a second. We're looking for create that. We're going to sort by create that way. and I'll explain this in a second. Okay, so I'm trying to get to reverse it. There, oh, it did reverse. Okay, so you notice it went from small to big. When you save it and get out of editing, however your configuration is, it's going to expand to full screen. And so you notice I had it all scrunched up on this side and expand to full screen. So when I go back to edit it, my columns are actually going to be what it was when it was smaller. I only had 2 and then 3, and I had the rest open. So just know, like, don't freak out. You just need to go back in, add your columns back, and so you can get the space to add everything back. So that is one thing that happens, which makes sense. We don't want to just have all this blank screen space. We're just trying to expand it and see all of our data. So that is a report tile. Hopefully went in depth enough for you. Let's. I think most of us are familiar with. If you've been in JobTread for a while, you're familiar with this. Let's get to the charts, which are a little bit. That's the new stuff, right? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and delete. Oh, we keep it. So tile chart. Okay. The chart has 5 different types right here. We have the different data sources that we saw from earlier, but these different charts this is the new stuff, and we have new stuff down here too. So let's go one at a time. So the first one is bar chart. We can do vertical bar charts. We can do horizontal bar charts. These calculations, we can count, we can sum and pick a field. We can average, min, max, and pick a field or use formulas. We'll come to that later. But this is bar charts. How cool is that? We can also do, so right now we're grouped by created at, and you can see it's Q1, Q2. We can change the interval from quarter to month. Boom. We can add another group to the field. Let's say we're going to do, these are custom fields. So, and then some location. But I have a custom field called estimate status, so I can do that, and now I can see where they are. Really tiny. I can see approved, decline, estimate needed, estimate review, estimate sent, income, site visit. Those are just my custom views. Statuses for my leads. What else can we do? We do lead source. You can see no value is where I'm getting all my leads from, but they're mostly from this one. It looks like referral direct. Pretty cool. Okay, keep going. That was bar chart. Now we have line charts. Kind of the same thing. All this stuff. Very similar. Very similar. We got our lines. It's looking like if it's 0, it kind of reads as null instead of 0, so you don't get connecting lines. I've noticed that a little bit. We've got pie charts where we can see, I'm still on the jobs data. Let's do something like customers, lead source, pie chart. So when you change that, it does change everything. So if you do a bunch of work down here in the bottom, let's say you're like adding filters and doing some calculations and doing formulas, as soon as you change this, all of that erases. So make sure you start at the top and pick the chart that you want first. We saw that change just a second. So let's go pie chart, and let's group by lead source, and we're going to count. There's all my lead sources. Let's say I don't want to see all 789 customers, and I wanted to see just the ones that we created this quarter. Okay, well, there you go. Or this year. Oh yeah, we just started the new quarter, that's why. I was like, what? And so we can see the whole year. So that's pie charts. Very cool. Table is kind of similar to those views that we talked about earlier, but I think you really want to focus on tables being just one row rather than multiple rows of data. Just kind of focus on 1 or 2 rows of data. I think that's the point here. We haven't talked about threshold yet. We'll come back to that. And then you have single value. This, honestly, single value is my favorite because we can make it very specific. As you guys saw in my dashboards earlier, you make very specific single numbers here, which is pretty cool. You can count, you can do sum. We're on customers, so we can sum approved orders. Cool stuff, right? Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. We can drag it to be how we want it. How cool is that? Okay, now let's actually do practical stuff. So we're going to go through and we're going to build out that dashboard, my summary dashboard. We're just going to build it together. Hopefully you're still with me. And building it together, you could say, oh, you go figure it out. Great, pause, go figure it out. I'm going to show you how we built each tile for that summary dashboard that I had. So let's go back to it. Summary dashboard. So we had leads this month, payments this month, projected active job margin, pipeline value. So we're going to come back to that and create that. We're going to create customer orders, so we can see this. We're going to create a monthly revenue line chart with some threshold, and we're going to create this lead source per month. So let's go and create this summary dashboard, new dashboard. Okay. Summary 2. We're going to add a tile just as the beginning. So we had leads this month, and I track my leads by job. You might track your leads by customer, so you would just switch to customer and kind of go through what we're going through, right? But I track my leads by job. You notice it's all caps, so it always looks good. Let's do leads by month. Let's do single value. If you get a table, when you click single value, click table, and then click single value again, and that switches it. I noticed that that's how you get out of that. So we're just going to count, and what do we want to count? We want to count job. I track leads by job, so we're going to count jobs created this month. That's how I want to track. So we're going to type created this month 2. Done. Boom. Leads this month. I'm going to put this over here, make it a tiny box. Now let's build a payments this month, or revenue this month, however you want to say that. So that's going to be, we're going to look at documents to get our revenue. You can look at documents, or you can look at payments. Maybe sometime all your payments don't come through. I don't know. Do it how you want to, but I'm going to do documents. I'm going to do single value. I want to sum the amount for, okay, when the document is, let's do document type. You need to make sure it's not all, we're not summing up everything. We just want to sum customer invoices. Great. And we want to make sure that they are closed this month. So these are the invoices, these are the customer invoices that were closed this month, and we're summing all of them, we're summing all the amounts together to get that. Boom. Nice. Okay. Now let's do projected average jobs margin. Okay, so we're going to look at our jobs. We're going to create a single value. It messed up, so go table and back, single value. We're going to average again, why I can't type on this, I'm not sure. We're going to do projected margin here. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. We are averaging the projected margin for every job. So anytime you're looking at this field, let's say we're taking the projected margin of every job has its own projected margin, and we're going to average all of those together to get this single data point. And so when we're doing other stuff, let's say we're using when we get to formulas, just keep in mind this right here, you're calculating the average of all of it for the field projected margin on each individual line. You can't reference everything back to one another. You're just setting the formula for each job, or choosing the field for each job, in this case projected margin, and then we're going to average all those margins together. So that's how that works. And we're just going to say for all jobs created this year. So for this year, created this year, I am calculating an average projected margin for my jobs to get that. Boom, done. Okay, and then we had pipeline value. Pipeline value is going to be our documents, and we're going to sum all the documents. We're going to sum the amount of every document that is only a customer order and with a status of pending. So this is any customer order that's sent to a client that's not signed. So any pending customer orders, you can think of estimates and change orders. I'll show you how to filter out change orders. But customer orders, estimates, change orders, it's everything there. And we're summing all of the amounts together. One thing we could do, let's say we weren't summing, we could average. So you can say our average pending job in the pipeline is $76,000, which is awesome. You could say, you could average it, you could do what's our minimum, 0, what's our maximum, 486. You can say let's sum it all together, we get 688. Very cool. Now let's say, I know a lot of you guys, customer order is the estimate you send and change orders and a bunch of other stuff. So what you can do here, you can say where name contains proposal, which is what ours do. We do a really good job of trying to get to close things out so we don't have change orders and things hanging out in there. But if you're trying to be very specific, you could say you're only looking at document names that contain the word proposal in them. Or if you wanted to say you're just looking at documents with change orders. See, we have no change orders. But that's one way to do that. So we move that there. Boom. Okay. Getting pretty close. I'm going to move this over here and drag these to different sizes. I only want to see 4 on the top. You can add more if you want, but I want them to be 4 equal things just like that. Let's go ahead and save it in case something happens and it crashes. We're good. Okay, so now let's do some charts. Let's do a bar chart, and we're going to do customer orders. And we're going to look at customer orders by month, by status. So we're going to go here, bar chart. We're going to group by created, by month. So now I can see all the months my customer orders were created. I'm going to second do that on top of, oh, you know what I'm doing wrong? I'm on jobs. We need to switch to documents. There we go. We're going to group by created at month, second group by, there's our status. Nice. Okay, so these are all documents though. Bills, POs, all that other stuff. So we're going to SOP, whatever you're doing, it's doing all of that. Let's go ahead and filter that out. So we're going to go type. I'm only looking at customer orders that I'm sending out. Okay? And let's also just do it for this year. We don't need to see last year's stuff. So I'm going to do created at this year. Boom. So now you can see approved, denied, draft pending. And so we can, like, visually quick, just thinking on the business side, you can see this like, oh, look at those in draft. We created 4 draft customer orders in February. Let's go send those out. And you can see your pending. You're like, oh, who's that? You can dig deep and figure out who that is and say, hey, these were created in February. Why are they not approved or denied yet? So that's cool. Okay, so customer orders, we're counting. I'm just counting those there. You could put a dollar value if you said you wanted to sum the amounts. You could do that. So you can say got $500,000 declined, and I had 243 approved in February. You can kind of see it that way. Do it how you want. It's so customizable. Okay, let's keep going. So we can drag this bigger. I actually want this a little bigger, so let's go there. Okay, save. Another chart. Let's do monthly revenue. We're going to look at, again, documents. We're going to close that date, monthly. We're going to change it to a line chart. And we're going to sum the price with tax. Ooh, look at that. We're going to filter out. Let's see, what are we on? We're on document. So I want to look at, so at my company, we track all of our revenue with invoices, and we're pretty adamant about that. If you wanted to do payments, maybe you're not grabbing all your invoices, you can track it however what works best for you. That's the cool part. Type customer invoices. Boom, there we go. And now we're going to go to thresholds. We haven't talked about thresholds yet. Here we go. You set your thresholds for the amounts here. So let's say minimum we have to bring in for a month is going to be 45,000, and the maximum, so anything below 45 is red, danger zone. Anything above it is good, and let's say that's where we're breaking even, and let's say 45 to, I don't know, 65. Just making this up, right? 45 to 65. 65, that's like our bare minimum. We need to be in that range. Anything above 65, that's awesome. That's all. That's way better than what that's way better than what we're trying to hit. So you can add those thresholds. Monthly rev, sweet. Got a little baby chart. Let's drag it, make it bigger. Okay, save it. Sweet. Okay, last one for this summary chart. We're going to create a lead source this month. We're going to look at customers or jobs. Jobs is how we track leads. That's what I said earlier. We're going to change it to a pie chart. We're going to create it at, and we're actually going to delete that. We're going to do this by customer lead source. It's a custom field I have. We're just counting. You could sum it and that would change, right? And we're going to filter where we're on jobs. We're going to filter where, let's just look at jobs that had approved orders. So these are approved jobs. We're not going to look at the jobs that didn't come through. We're just looking at the jobs that actually turn in, or the leads that actually turn into real jobs. We're going to say is greater than 0. Boom. So this is going to grab all jobs that we've ever completed and fulfilled and closed, and then also the active jobs that they approved. They have an approved order of greater than 0, but they're still active. So it's going to track all that in there as well. Trucks. We got 1. Sweet. Put that there. Drag that big. Save it. Now we have a summary dashboard. How cool. Okay, now that we created the summary dashboard, this is just all overview stuff. This is like our home page. When we open JobTread, we're going to see this data and be like, boom, boom, boom. Okay, I know where I am. Let's go run the business, right? But now let's dive deeper. Let's say you're going to really study your leads. So let's delete this dashboard. We're going to go in, create a new dashboard, specifically focusing on the leads. So we want to be nitty gritty. We want to be specific in what we're looking at. So let's do, so let's look at leads this week. I track leads by job. You can track them by customer and just change it up there. And I want to put this as a single value. We're going to count. Oh, we got a table, so go to table and then come back. We're going to say jobs created this week, 0. Womp womp. But we can drag and put that there. Save. I want to see my conversion rate for the jobs. So now we're going to get a little bit more in depth. So this is cool. Okay. Conversion rate. We're going to look at jobs. We're going to do this as a single value because I just want to see the percentage to know kind of where we are, right? I'm going to average, and I'm going to use a formula here. So we're looking at job data. So I'm going to say, so the value name, this doesn't come up anywhere, it's just to keep track. At least right now you can't reference it. I hope in the future that if you set a value here with the formula, you can reference this value name in other tiles. That would be so cool to start referencing some of that stuff. But right now you can't, but we're going to name this conversion rate, and our value formula is going to be fun. We're going to do if approved order with tax is greater than 0, we're going to assign that job the value 1. And if it does not equal greater than 0, we're going to assign it the value of 0. And what this is doing, remember, the value formula is on the row level, and then the calculation is on that value. So each job, we're looking at every single job. Let's say you have 5 jobs, and your approved orders with tax, if it's greater than 0, it's going to assign the value to that job as a 1 or a 0. So let's say this has an approved order, so that's 1. This has an approved order, that's 1. These 3 don't have approved order, so these are 0, 0, 0. So it's going to average those together. So 2 of 5 is 40%. So hopefully that made sense, how the formulas are working. So that's the formula, the value formula for this. So if your approved order with tax is greater than 0, it's going to assign that job a value 1. We're going to average all those jobs together, all the 1s and 0s average out, and we're going to see a percentage, 26%. How cool. That's my conversion rate. Save it. Okay, we're going to average, and we're going to use a formula again. How we're going to do this formula is, remember, it's on each job. So we're going to say if the approved orders with tax are greater than 0, we're doing that same kind of logic. And let's say I'm going to track my my marketing spend, my ad spend for the year. So we're in April, so we go January, February, March, April, 4 months. Let's say we spend $500 a month. So we're going to say $2,000, 5, 10, 15, 20, $2,000. We're going to assign the job as $2,000. That's our total marketing spend. So you have to think again. So we've got 5 leads. We're creating a new column with the formula. We're saying if approved order with taxes greater than 0, we're going to assign it the value of 2,000. So let's say you have 2,000, 2,000, 0, 0, 0. So now we're going to take 2,000, $4,000 over 5 leads, and it'll do that calculation, and it would say $600 per lead, right? So that's kind of the math we're doing there. Never do public math. I hope I did that right. We're going to get, we're going to put this in currency, so it's $1. And let's filter out. We only want to look at jobs that were created this year. Okay. So I can't see the data here to show how many jobs it was, but we're taking our $2,000 and we're assigning that to 2,000 value to every job that got approved. And the jobs that weren't approved got 0. So let's say out of 100 jobs, it's going to average all that out between 2,000 and 0, and we're going to get our spend, what it costs to get a lead to sign up with you. So we can see if we spent $500 a month in my company, it would be $491 for a lead. How cool is that? Okay. And then the last one we're going to do is going to be revenue per lead. So this one's a little easier, kind of similar to what we were just doing. Rev per lead. We're going to look at our jobs because that's how I track my leads. We're going to do a single value. We're going to average the approved orders with tax. We're going to go through here and filter for only jobs created this year. So I can see that on all my jobs this year, I'm averaging the approved orders with tax. And that's going to give me my average revenue per, or my average value. Let's change that. My value per lead is $23,000. And I'm not a marketer, but I think it cost me $491 to get a warm lead, and my value per lead ends up being that. I think we're doing decent. Okay, I'm going to save that. And we're using 12 columns here, so I want this to be 4 equal spaces, so we'll drag and drop, drag and drop. Okay, now let's create another tile. It's going to be our new leads line chart. Tracking leads by that. We're going here. We're looking at, let's look at weekly view. Let's get crazy. And we only want to look at created at this year. Boom. Okay. So now I'm counting. You see, we're counting how many leads or new jobs are created as leads every week. So now we're going to add a threshold. Let's say that we want 5. Anything above 5 a week is amazing. We're going to say a week, minimum 2 a week. So we can see, not very good. We're kind of averaging, and these were good. Save that. Drag it, make it big. Drag it, make it big. There we go. Let's make it a little bigger. Beautiful. Save. We're going to do job type. I'm looking at all the jobs that are coming in as my leads. We're going to do a bar chart. We're going to do that. Oh, I got to get more fields in here. So let's look at this by week too. Since we're looking very, very small per week, we can do that for all of these as well. Created at this year. And now let's add another group. So now we're looking at job type. See that here? Yep, there it is. So, oh, that's so tiny. Let's stack it. There we go. That looks better. Okay. And so this is looking at every job. You know what? You see this no value? Let's actually get rid of that. I only want to see jobs. That might have been like a test job. And job type exists. There, we got rid of the no value. Okay, so I can see all my job types. How cool is that? And now the last thing I need to see when I'm looking at my leads is my job loss reason. Looking at jobs, we're saying not created, we're going to look at loss. We're going to say filter. I only want to see jobs this year, and I only want to see loss reasons that exist. So I don't want to see the no value reasons. So there we go. Man, these colors look cool. There we go. Leads dashboard, we're kind of getting granular. We're seeing some ad spend, we're seeing some value per lead, we're seeing our conversion rate. Those are important things to see. Okay, cool. Now let's go on to a sales dashboard. Create a new one here. I'm going to say sales 2. Okay, so now we're building the sales dashboard. First tile, I want to do something like sales this year. So let's see, how are we going to do this? I want to think about the jobs. We're going to sum, approve orders with tax, filter, jobs created. Ooh, let's not do jobs created. Let's do, because what about some jobs that were created in December? We're going to do jobs sold date. So if I created the job in December and just sold it in January, we want to grab that sold date. So we're looking at jobs sold this year. Some approved orders, jobs sold this year, yes. Boom. Save. What else do we want to look at for sales? I think we want to look at how many deals that was. We got 1 deals. We're going to look at jobs. We're going to count where job sold date is this year. Easy. Boom. And so what would be really cool is like if you could reference the different tiles to and have a third tile that's referencing these two rather than having to do all of the calculations. That would make things a little quicker for certain things. Okay, now let's look at our average deal size. Well, this is what I just talked about. My bad. So we're going to look at jobs. We're going to look at single value. We're going to average pending orders, or sorry, approved orders for sold date. Oh, there it is. Sold date this year. Boom. That's what I was just talking about. That's silly. Okay. Average deal size. So we've got how many sales we did this year, how many deals we actually won. We got our average deal size. And let's do one more. Let's do our sales target. Okay. This was pretty tricky to figure out, but I think it's really, really cool. So we can set a sales target. So let's say I'm trying to do $1.25 million this year in sales, right? Or in gross revenue, in sales. I can calculate how we're doing that. So we're actually going to go to Documents, Single Value. We're going to sum. Okay. Here's our formula. We're going to say price with tax divided by our year sales target. Let's say 1,250,000. Value type, we're going to do it as a percentage. Then we're going to filter. Okay, so we're on document, so it's looking at bills and everything. So we're going to filter by type. We want the type to only be customer orders. And we want the status to be approved. So now we're looking at customer orders that have been approved. We're taking all of those prices and dividing it by the sales target for the year. How cool. So one more thing, we're going to jobs sold this year. Boom. We're almost 35% to our sales target. That's so cool. Okay. And we can, I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. So it just takes a little bit of thinking about the logic, thinking about the formulas to get the exact data you want. I'm not going to do any charts for sales. Let's skip to what everybody wants this. Everybody wants, whoops, get out of here. Everybody wants to track their sales rep data. So we're going to do a report. Okay, we're going to do sales reps. I'm looking at job, and I have a job on my, I have a custom field on my job called sales rep. That's how we're going to group it. It's me and no one else. Okay, group by sales rep. And then inside of this, I actually want to group by created at dates, month. So I can see the months that I've been assigned jobs. So now it's counting all the jobs that have been assigned me, 51, 2, 11, 18, 18, 2. So it's counting all the jobs, and it's breaking it out by month like this. Okay? Now let's add some data over here. So we're going to go to fields. We want to see name. We want to see approved orders with tax. So it's showing you our approved orders. So I had, we can even see pending orders. Let's do that too. Pending, oh, this is what I've got pending. This is what I've got actually sold. How cool. So now let's do some calculation. So we have this new button here, and some of you guys might have seen it in the custom fields or custom views. They gave us this a few months ago. We can add formula columns. So we're going to add a new column to this table. Again, the formula formulates, the formula calculates over each job, and then from there, it's going to add up everything. So let's call this conversion rate. We're going to look for percentage. And our formula is going to be what we did earlier. If approved orders greater than 0, assign 1, and if not, assign 0. And we'll average all that out. So my conversion rate is 27.45. Let's add another one. We're going to look at commission. We're going to make that a currency. We're going to say approved orders. Let's say I'm going to give myself a 10% commission. Boom, there's my commission. And so now we can see out of all the jobs in December, I had a 50% close rate with an 81.26 commission. You can see it's off that one, 10% off that one job. And I still have this one pending, couldn't close them. January I had 11, no pending, so they all either approved or denied, which is good. I have a 54% close rate, and my commission was 22 from the 220 that I sold there. You can see, so you get all of that data for your sales rep. And so we did this. So we did this as a report. So I'm looking at all the sales. So I can go through here, and actually, if I wanted to make I could look at jobs. I could do single value. I'm going to sum up I spelled it wrong. I'm going to take approved orders times 10%. So we're looking at, so again, formula values on every job, and then we're going to sum all of that up. We're going to do that as a currency. So I could make my own little square like this. And if you wanted, you could make a little square for every sales rep. Like commission, well, I have to go through here, filter. We're going to do Sales rep is Elliot. Okay, there we go. Sales rep is Elliot, and that's my commission. And so you could set that for week, month, quarter, year. But you could set up everybody, all your sales rep as a different thing. You can set up different conversion. You can see the conversion rate as a single, or you can do it as a big report like this. So, whew, we made it, guys. That's the brand new JobTread dashboard feature. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you followed along, hit pause several times, took notes. So I hope this helped you. I appreciate you. I love you to death. Go out there, create some cool dashboards. Make sure you screenshot it, share it back with us. I'd love to see it. And yeah, if you need any help at all, feel free to reach out. I know this can be daunting. There's a lot of data, and you really need to run your business. And so if you ever get bogged down, feel free to reach out anytime. Seriously, here to help. Yeah, that's it. Love you. Bye.